Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Terence Crawford smashed everybody that Floyd ever fought. Yup. Man, Freddie, done. Fried. Crawford would have beat him, dominated him, knocked him the hell out. Crawford hit harder than Floyd. Crawford hits harder than Floyd. You understand that? Killer instinct is on 10. Oh, man, come on, man. Crawford can do everything Floyd can do, and he can do it from both sides.
Tim Bradley was a unified world champion sitting comfortably at the top of the rankings and dominating everyone in his training camp. He expected an easy day at work when his manager brought in an unknown 23-year-old from Nebraska for some sparring rounds.
Timmy, when you brought Terence to your camp 2 years back, and you told him you're going to be a future champ, you knew it, right?
Yep.
What do you have? What kind of skill did he have?
Everything. Mentally tough, physically strong, boxing ability, high IQ for the sport, student of the game, confident, everything. He's a friend of mine.
Within minutes, that unknown kid landed a perfect counter right hook and dropped him. This was not just a lucky punch. It was the terrifying moment Bradley realized he was looking at a boxing genius who understood fighting like a supercomputer. And the scariest part was that nobody else in the world knew his name yet.
I think I was getting ready for Devin Alexander, and then I had him for Pacquiao too. So I had him for 2 camps. But I was getting ready for Devin Alexander, and I was tip-top shape. I was sending everybody home. I was beating up everybody in the gym, sending them home. And I was running out of sparring partners. So I told my manager, Cameron Duncan at the time.
That was 2011?
Like,
that was about 2011,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And then so I called him up and I said, hey, I need a sparring partner, man. Like, I'm sending these guys home. Like, I need somebody that's durable, somebody strong, somebody tough. And he was just like, well, I'll send Crawford. I'll see if he can come out. So got in contact with Crawford, his camp, whatever. He flew out by himself. He came in the gym. I seen him sitting in the gym. He had these little plaits in his head. He's very dark skinned. Look kind of scrawny. He looked strong. You know what I'm saying? I already know, certain builds. I'm like, yeah, he looks strong. Very lanky, quiet, didn't talk much, man. He warmed up, got in the gym. We started working. We started sparring, and I was like, oh my God, he was lighting me up. Every mistake I made, bing, 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 he was catching me, countering the shit out of me. And I was like, my God.
To understand how big this moment was, you have to go back to 2011. Tim Bradley was at the very peak of his career, getting ready for a huge fight against Devin Alexander. His training camp intensity was legendary. He was actually hurting his sparring partners and running out of people to fight. Desperate for reliable work, his team brought in a young Terence Crawford as a last-minute replacement. At that point, Crawford had only a dozen professional fights and had never even seen the 7th round of a real match. The setup was brutally unfair. Bradley had his entire world-class coaching staff in his corner watching every move. Crawford was completely alone, just shadow boxing quietly in the corner before the bell rang with no idea he was about to step into a cage with a monster.
Walk through me like nothing. I looked at him, I said, bruh, you ain't no sparring partner. I said, man, what's your name? And he was like, Terence Crawford. And I'm like, man, where the hell you from? He goes, Omaha, Nebraska. I go, bruh. I'm like, you ain't no sparring partner. You a world champion. And he was like, oh, you really think? I was like, man, you got the goods. Look, listen to me. Every time I would try to step it up, because that's what I would do. I would go half-ass, and then, if they start getting the best of me, then I'll step it up. And if they start getting, then if they rise their game, then I rise mine. And I just kept rising my game. And I just kept trying to rise my game. Well, he rose his game. And I'm like, God, I was like, dang, this dude is different. Like, most guys would just crumble. Like, oh, you the champ, so I'm just going to lay down. He didn't lay down at all. He didn't take it easy on me. And I was like, oh, my God. So it went from there. So I immediately, after training, I took him back to his hotel. And better yet, he had no coach with him. Nobody, literally, they was giving him water, and that was it. He didn't have a coach telling him what to do.
When the sparring session started, Bradley admits he first tried to go easy on the new guy just to see what he could do. That was a big mistake. Crawford immediately hit the champ with a stiff jab, then followed up with a sharp counter that got Bradley's full attention. Stung and a little embarrassed in his own gym, Bradley's championship pride took over. He decided to raise the intensity all the way to a world title level, unleashing the kind of heavy pressure that usually breaks opponents mentally and physically. But the kid from Nebraska did not break. Instead, in the middle of all that chaos, Crawford caught the champion with a clean shot that made his legs wobble. Bradley admits today that in a real fight, it would have been called a knockdown. The gym went completely silent. The hired help had just dropped the boss.
Duncan?
What?
Cameron Duncan?
Yeah, he goes, what, he's no good? You're going to send him home too? And I'm like, hell no. I was like, bro, when is this kid fighting? He was just like, what do you mean? I said, dude, what are you doing with him? And he was just like, well, nothing right now. He's kind of benched. He's, issues. He has issues outside of the ring, and so it's kind of benched. I'm like, bro, I was like, I'll buy him out of this contract right now. I said, how much you want for him? I'll buy him right now. And he was like, wait, hold up. I love Terence. What are you talking about? His tone changed real quick when I was telling him, like, bro, I was like, he dominated me in the sparring session. He goes, what? He goes, really? Yeah. So then, all right.
He didn't know what he had. He didn't know what he had.
He had no clue what he had, right? Yeah. Neither did Top Rank, right? So then I'm finished camp or whatever. I go through Devin Alexander. I beat him, whatever. Then I get a call. And they're like, hey, what do you think about Crawford and Prescott? And I was like, Prescott who? The dude that knocked out Khan? Yeah. I'm like, oh, I was like, Crawford. I say he'll box circles around him. I was like, he'll box circles around him. I say he probably even stop him. And it was like, he goes, really? Really? And this is Cameron Duncan I'm talking to. He goes, really? You really? He's like, you're sure? I'm like, man, I promise you, everything, whatever it is, I promise you. And I was like, man, I was like, yo.
Bradley's biggest takeaway from that day goes even deeper than just getting knocked down. Having spent 36 brutal rounds in the ring with the legendary Manny Pacquiao, Bradley later made a controversial statement that still gets boxing fans debating. He believes that skill for skill Terence Crawford is actually better than Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao is the name people are throwing out there, Tim. And you've been in the ring with him 3 times, and you've been in the ring with Terence when you guys sparred. How do you see that matchup? What does Tim Bradley think about that?
I mean, it's a tough match. It's a tough match. But, of course, I'm going to go with my boy. I'm going to go with my boy Terence. I think he, the IQ, man, that movement he showed tonight, that definitely would give Manny problems, with all that movement. But, then again, when you think about it, because I've been in the ring with Manny, this dude, he ain't like Pistol. He ain't going to sit there and, nah, he ain't going to sit there and no, Manny's going to be, and we're going to be letting them hands fly, and so I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I would favor my boy Terence with the size, his movement. I would favor him in the fight. I would want him to beat him. But it's like I said, man, that's a tough fight, Manny. You can never count that guy out, man. He's a beast.
Does Manny still have a lot left, Tim?
Yeah, man. Yeah. That last time out, I don't know what I said to piss him off, but that last time out, he looked good. He was sensational. He learned a lot from that Floyd fight. Let me tell you.
While admitting that Pacquiao was a relentless fighter who overwhelmed you physically with blinding speed and power, Bradley argues that Crawford breaks you down mentally. Pacquiao was a physical storm you had to try to survive. Crawford is a smart assassin who takes away your best moves before you even think to use them. It is the difference between getting beaten up by pure force and being completely solved by a sharper mind.
Because I think Floyd at his best. Because I think Floyd at his best was a better defensive fighter than Crawford. Crawford's a better offensive fighter, but in those kind of matchups, I think defense usually beats the offense.
I don't. Because Terence Crawford got more to bring. He got more to bring to the table.
He's a great
Floyd
fighter.
Mayweather got the little shoulder roll. I get it. Controls distance. But Terence Crawford is also a master at distance. Terence Crawford has punching power to hurt Floyd Mayweather. We saw that in the Sam Judah fight now.
Yeah, Shane too. Shane hurt him with the right hand.
Shane hurt him as well.
Yep.
And did he fight Shane? But did Floyd fight Shane in his prime? Do you think he fought him in his prime?
No.
Exactly.
And Zab wasn't quite a Shane-level fighter. That's true. Listen, it'd be a great match. It'd be a great matchup, no doubt. What you said about the other fighters who are avoiding him, those fighters are with Heyman in the PBC. But when you listen, and obviously you're not in a rush to throw your guy in with Terence Crawford if you can make money other ways at 147 pounds. But
True.
Sean Porter has mentioned Terence Crawford. He's not running. It has been reported recently that Arum and Heyman were talking about a Crawford-Spence fight. Not this year, but the following year, if they remained undefeated, but then Spence got into the car accident. And we see now that with the Fury-Wilder fight happening, maybe there's a thawing and more of a willingness to do business, if it makes sense, between the promoters. And Heyman's technically an advisor, but he's a power broker. I would love to see if Spence gets back to being the same guy he is and isn't facing legal repercussions for the car accident. I would love to see Spence and Crawford. I think that's the best fight in boxing, Tim.
What happened next is exactly why Bradley now calls Crawford a master thinker. Most young, inexperienced fighters fall apart when a wounded champion suddenly turns up the aggression. Crawford did the complete opposite. He started gathering information. Without a single coach in his corner to guide him or tell him what to change, he began adjusting right in the moment. Bradley described him as a chameleon in that ring. If Bradley pushed forward hard, Crawford smoothly fought while moving backward. If Bradley tried to box from a distance, Crawford switched stances from orthodox to southpaw, completely messing up the champion's timing. He used his strong wrestling background to pivot out of dangerous corners and set clever traps. Every time Bradley thought he saw an opening, he realized seconds later that he had walked right into a snare Crawford had set. After 4 intense rounds, Bradley's own trainer had seen enough and stopped the session to save the champ from taking more unnecessary punishment from an unknown amateur.
Oh, Crawford, I said, man, you have something special. And I told him, I said, man, look, you stay on the right course. I said, stay out of trouble, stay out of the streets. I said, really live this. Keep your weight down, and opportunity's going to present itself. I said, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to call Top Rank. I'm going to talk about you. I said, when the opportunity comes, I said, you got to make sure you shine. And then when it came, boom, man, the rest is history. And right after that fight, when I saw Fight Prescott, I announced to the world that day, I said, he's going to be the future pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. And he accomplished that. So, knew that kid was special. I knew that kid was special, man. Because trust me, man, I was hell. I was hell in the ring, man. You got to deal with more than just my punches. You have to deal with the head. You have to deal with my strength, my conditioning, and Crawford was able to deal with all of that. So I knew he was different.
That's when I think Midge Minor was his trainer at the time, right?
Who was that?
Midge. Was Midge his trainer?
Yeah.
The old man.
Nah, it was Bomac. I think it was Bomac because I think his trainer had passed away.
No, his trainer passed away in 2018.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think it was both. It was Bomac.
Okay.
It was Bomac, I believe. Yeah, I think it was Bomac. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Bomac, man. He would talk, and the crazy thing is about Crawford is that like every day he was different. So like I would come back the next sparring session, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get his ass now. Yeah, I know his weakness.
Years later, the whole world finally saw what Tim Bradley witnessed in that nearly empty gym back in 2011 when Crawford took apart the undefeated Errol Spence Jr. It was not just athletic ability at work. It was that same brilliant mind downloading Spence's timing, finding the patterns, and shutting him down completely. This is exactly why Bradley is one of the few experts who is very confident that Crawford could move up several weight classes and beat a big, strong fighter like Canelo Alvarez. While other analysts focus on the size difference, Bradley looks at the gap in mental sharpness. He believes Crawford does not win fights with muscle. He wins them with his brain. And that computer inside his head can solve any problem no matter how big it is.
Floyd Mayweather, I'm telling you right now, he will beat Floyd Mayweather too. He will beat him too. He got everything it takes to beat Floyd. Floyd struggled in the first half against Zab Judah. Zab Judah, a damn terrific fighter. Terrific fighter, but he ain't no damn Terence Crawford. Especially from the southpaw position. Floyd didn't like fighting southpaws. Floyd reached with that right hand. You think he's gonna reach against one of the best back foot counterpunchers in the game? He gonna reach with that right hand against Crawford? He gonna get slept reaching with that back hand. The way he reaches with that. That level change backhand he throws too? Man, that pull jab he does too, that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. Floyd got a 72-inch reach. Yeah, he had quickness, fast reflexes. However, Crawford got all of that too. He got all of that too. And he got a 75-inch reach. Great counter puncher. Can concentrate all night. Can put pressure on Floyd. He can even invite Floyd in. Yep. I noticed. Floyd's not having success. He started to step on the gas. That's what he do. And he gonna run into problems with Crawford because Crawford hits harder than him.
All right, everyone. Stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Glove Lard and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.